And as promised, time to focus in on the 2023 Dakar Rally, where South Africa's Henk and a co-driver, Brett Cummings, were lying second overall behind teammates Nasser Al-Attiyah and Mathieu Baumel at the halfway stage. Two difficult stages on the 9th and 12th saw the team end fifth behind the first South Africans home, former winner and another teammate from South Africa, Giniel de Villiers and Dennis Murphy. Well, De Villiers and Lategan join me now, the two Toyota Gazoo racing drivers. A very good afternoon to both of you. Welcome to Newzroom Afrika. Good to be chatting to you. Giniel, I want to start with you. You were looking forward to the distance and it being a little bit longer. Did it live up to expectations?
Yes, good afternoon. No, definitely this race was certainly the toughest one we've had in Saudi Arabia. It was the fourth event in Saudi Arabia, and you know, the organisers definitely put up a really hard event. The last couple of editions were 12 days, and this one was back to the old 14 days, 14 stages. And they also toughened up the stages. You know, there were some stages which were really, really tough. We had abnormal amounts of rain in the desert, which is not normal. So that made it difficult and tricky. And you know, it was quite cold up in the north. So a proper Dakar in Saudi Arabia and a proper test of man and machine.
Henk, what happened after halfway? You are certainly one of South Africa's rising stars when it comes to Rally Raid. Lots of expectation after the learnings of 2021. And it looked like it was all coming together until stage 9.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, it was going really well, even better than expected. Like Giniel said, it was really an extremely tough race. A bit of a car breaker and a body breaker. We were feeling a bit second hand after the first week. And yeah, unfortunately on I think it was the day after race day, we broke a damper, one of the rear dampers, and that's not one of the parts that we carry extra on the car. So usually when you break something like that, you are stuck in the desert waiting for the big trucks to come through because they carry some of the bigger spares. So usually you'd be completely out. You'd lose 5 or 6 hours. But we're fortunate that Yazid Araji, our other teammate, the Saudi in the other Toyota, he stopped and actually gave us his damper because he had a similar issue the day before and had to wait for the truck. So yeah, we were really fortunate not to lose too much time there, but unfortunately we lost enough to drop us down from second all the way to fourth. And then I think it was 2 or 3 days later, we actually rolled the car. There's no footage of that, and there wasn't a lot said about it, but we had a bit of a roll, and myself and Brett had to do some mechanic work in the desert, put a wheel back on, had some other broken bits to fix, and it was the second day without a front windscreen, so it was a bad few days in the middle of the Dakar for us, but yeah, ended off decently and started off really well.
Giniel, it is now 20 years of Dakar. You've equaled the record of Yoshimasa Sugawari, who managed 20 consecutive years in the Dakar Rally up until 2009. But you still seem as hungry as ever.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's actually unbelievable. You know, I can't believe I've done 20 Dakars already. And we've managed to finish every single one of them. So, look, I mean, it's a nice record to have. I mean, but it's not something that I started out, trying to achieve. But, for sure, having finished, the same amount of consecutive Dakars as Sugawara is quite nice. So I guess that means I have to go for one more, so to try and get to 21. But yeah, for sure, we still have a great time there. We have a great team in Toyota Gazoo Racing. A team from South Africa competing on the world stage, and that gives me really a lot of motivation, a lot of pleasure, a lot of pride to be doing this for a team from South Africa.
Can you just explain to us how it actually works with the team when you are at the Dakar Rally? a massive victory for Toyota Gazoo Racing, first, fourth and fifth in a South African car. Can you just explain to us what actually happens at the bivouac and the kind of interaction between the different teams of drivers, Henk?
We don't spend that much time in the bivouac, or at least we don't spend that much time awake in the bivouac. Usually we get up really early before the sun's up some days, and we jump straight in the cars, and we have a lot of time on the open section on the actual public roads doing normal speeds to get to where the stage starts, and then we have a couple of hours in the stage, and then usually a couple of hours back to the bivouac again. And usually you just jump out the car, tell the mechanics what might have gone wrong for that day, or what they need to check, speak to your engineer to discuss some of the problems or some of the changes you would like to make to the car. And then you look after yourself for a bit, go and eat, get a massage, sort out everything that was heard from that day. We don't get a lot of time, unfortunately, with the other drivers. We spend a lot of time with the drivers in our team, so myself and Giniel and Nasser will have some chats in the afternoons, and you spend a lot of time with your co-driver. Obviously, you are in the same camper for 14 days, so you get to know each other really well. Sadly, we don't get that much interaction with the other teams, with the other drivers, and especially with the other categories. I mean, the bikes are usually 2-3 hours ahead of us in the morning, so you don't get as much interaction as maybe we'd like with some of the other teams and riders and drivers.
Giniel, are all of the cars the same within the Toyota Gazoo Racing team?
Yes, certainly. I mean, the car that I drive, that Nasser drives, and Henk drives are all exactly the same cars. They're built and developed by Hall Speed up in Johannesburg. It's near the Kyalami racetrack, and there are even some customer teams. Like the car that Yazid Al-Raji drove is also exactly the same car that we use. He's in the customer team. We call it the Overdrive team. So they had a couple of cars there, which is the same as ours. The guy that was third in the race, Lucas Moraes, he also had the same car as us. But the three of us are in the so-called factory team. So we try and work together and try and support each other in the race, and that's very important in a long race like this.
Often when we watch motorsport at the highest end, we wonder just how much of the learnings from what you guys are able to do at an elite level actually gets translated into the development of vehicles. And Giniel, I understand you've for years been involved in the development of the Hilux. So how much of what we're seeing in the Dakar Rally and in your guys' cars are actually being on the roads, quite a large number here in South Africa?
Yes, certainly. I mean, racing is the pinnacle of development, and obviously, a lot of the stuff we try there, it eventually trickles down to the road cars. I mean, and can be used there. I mean, although we race a full prototype, I mean, we use exactly the same engine that you find in today's Land Cruiser 300. It's a 3.5 liter twin turbo petrol engine, and it's exactly the same engine. So what we learn there and what we see there can definitely be applied in your road cars. But that's what racing's about. It's about developing new technologies and stuff like that, and at the same time putting up a good show for the fans. And building the brand, getting people excited about Toyota, getting people excited about the Hilux brand. And that's exactly why we do this. So, yes, I've been involved for many, many years, and hopefully there's a couple more left. But I certainly enjoy, what I'm doing at the moment. So, it's very nice.
Well, certainly, thank you to the both of you, ensuring that Rally Ray, from a South African perspective, on all levels, is in a very healthy state. Henk Lategan, as well as Giniel de Villiers, sharing with us their experience of the 2023 Dakar Rally with the Toyota Gazoo Racing team.